Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another trade recap. Today is November 3rd, 2025, and we took a loss today. We took a $584 loss on the account, new account, and let's explain this real quick. So, the reason we took this trade to begin with was with the market open, we had a crazy bit of a sell off that left us with good 5 minute and 1 minute imbalances to possibly tap into for rebalances for selling later. However, one thing that we should have paid attention to is the overall 4 hour. Looking at the 4 hour, we closed this last 4 hour candle within the range of this previous 4 hour, leaving us a crazy wick as well. So with that being said, that gives us a big confluence for reversals into the next 4 hour candle, also indicating that we might not want to pull back too heavily into the range of the previous 4 hour candle before doing that expansion move. So with that being said, that is exactly what took place with market open. Not with market open, sorry, with the 10 a.m. new 4 hour candle open. So as new 10 a.m. 4 hour candle opens up, we open up and we create a new set of lows that begin to get inversed above, and only so to be acting as manipulation. These inverse fair value gaps and change in state of deliveries are nothing but manipulation, and that's something that you would be able to understand with our higher time frame bias. Today, we did not understand that because we were kind of a little bit too zoomed in on the 1 minute to really understand what was happening on the 4 hour. Although I kind of did have biases for sales coming into the morning, I was a bit skewed off by looking at how price action was forming at the current time being. However, this position wasn't necessarily bad considering the fact that we could have also rebalanced into any of these fair value gaps here to respect 50% of the wick of this previous 4 hour to then reject off of that. However, today, which is not one of those days, and it can't always be one of those days. So looking into this trade, one thing that we could have improved on is waiting for the 5 minute inverse fair value gap. Although the 1 minute was presenting us many chain of state deliveries, inverse fair value gaps, looking at the 5 minute, the 5 minute is still not really expanding through any of these other 5 minute candles. And we have 5 minute imbalance over here that did not get inverse through. And that inverse of the 5 minute is something that we should have to look into with every trade from now on, because that 5 minute inverse weighs more power than the 1 minute as well as any other time frame imbalances. So the 5 minute fair value gap being inversed in any kind of position is a must have before taking the trade. That would have easily been able to help us understand that with the next 5 minute close, which would have taken place at 10:15, would have given us possible manipulation / reversal point. And seeing that the 5:15 candle comes back into this fair value gap over here, we would wait for the next candle to give us a possible reversal, chain of state delivery / inverse fair value gap outside of this range over here to be very certain of the buy side bias. However, the very next candle takes out this previous low and starts a new trend on its own over here. So overall, today was not a bad day. It was a loss, but we were able to take the lesson from today and move on to tomorrow with a clear mental and right trade strategy. One thing to remember is losses in trading are inevitable and losses are completely understandable. One thing to remember about your losses is that your reward system will always come out on top. Although we took a loss today, our reward system is a minimum of a 2-to-1 risk to reward, meaning if I take a win tomorrow, that trade will take up today's loss plus more of that. And a minimum of 1 to 2 allows us to also leave trailing. Sorry for the stutter. To leave trailing positions to further take profits to allow us to also extend our risk to reward in that way. And with that being said, a loss of this nature is nothing in the grand scheme of things. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.